Sam, just overall thoughts you have from this game, and the targeting call on Catalan. What did you see on that play, and how big was it?
Well, I saw him. I thought he tried to avoid he was coming in with his shoulder. Their receiver, went lower as he was going towards the ground, and I felt like he was trying to avoid the contact. But I can see what they saw as well. But certainly it looked to me like he was trying to avoid getting his head out of there and trying to avoid the receiver's helmet as well. On the game, LSU had the ball the whole time. I think, they probably looked out there and saw some new faces on the D-line and felt like they possibly could have a good running game on us, which, they did. I mean, they rushed for 150 yards, but they controlled the football game. They controlled it, and we had big plays on offense, but we had a couple of long drives. Did a nice job catching the football, but we just didn't have a lot of consistency during the game, and we couldn't hand the ball off to the tailback and run the ball very well. And the bottom line is that's probably they could run it and we couldn't. That's probably the difference in the football game.
Hey, Biddy.
Yeah, Coach, with the focus that you guys had on third downs this week, I imagine you got to be a little disappointed in the performance.
Well, whether we had focus on it or whether we didn't, I would imagine we'd be disappointed in third down. We just had to keep working on it. There's so many. Anytime you lose by 3, there's so many points in the game that can go one way or the other. We had an opportunity to go up 8, and we couldn't convert that third down, that specific one, and we had got a field goal and went up 4, and then certainly if we'd have went up 8, then we'd have put a lot of pressure on them. We couldn't do it, and it was that way a lot. Our big plays, I believe, a lot of them came on first and second down. However, we did convert the 4th and 3 to keep the game alive and give us opportunity to tie it. So we'll just keep working at it. You have to give LSU's defense credit. They had a nice game plan. They did a nice job.
Appreciate it.
Coach, what went into the decision to kick the field goal there late? How long did you think about possibly going for it?
4th and 3, 45-yard field goal, down 3. What would you have said if we'd have went for it and didn't make it? Kick the field goal? To me, there wasn't a question of what you do. We were going to tie the game up. We didn't think they had enough time. They weren't a prolific throwing the ball football team. They only had a timeout left as well. So, if it was closer, we might have tried it. But I have confidence in Reed, and I certainly thought we could protect it, and I thought we would. And there was no doubt in my mind we'd make it. We probably would have, but we had it tipped.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, I don't think Jonathan Marshall came off the field but for a couple of plays. What did you think of his play today, and then how big was it to have him in there when you're rotating a bunch of young guys in at defensive ends?
Well, the guy's he's wonderful. I mean, the guy plays his tail off. He's a fighter. Nobody said a word. He didn't say a word. He didn't say, hey, where's so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. He said, hey, let's go, Coach. These guys will be fine. I love my staff. There wasn't one bit of negativism over, the bottom line is we had the numbers to play, and that's the spirit of the game. They don't ask you who you have to play. They say, do you have this amount of numbers, and we did. And we went to play, and nobody said a word about it. And to be honest with you, we should have played today, and that's what we did.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, what did you see as maybe the root causes defensively for the struggles on third down? I think LSU had 12 third down conversions.
Not a lot. There was some pressure. Obviously they had some pressure. Um, they covered us pretty good. Even the plays that we made, a lot of the slant routes that we usually, a little more wide open. They had, where their veterans or where their players were in the secondary that had played, more ball. And so I honestly, I thought we'd be able to run it a little bit better than what we did. And when they took that away from us, we played a little bit more into their strength because they had really two or more edge rushers that were outstanding players. And then I thought going into the game that their secondary was a fine secondary.
Otis.
Coach Pittman, it seems like Mike Woods just gets better every week. I mean, just talk about his play. I mean, it seems like every week he just gives you more and more big plays.
Well, he's a competitor, and really has good hands. And, it takes a good receiver to win against a good corner, a good press corner. And Mike's big and he's long. And so he's able to do that. So I'm really, really proud of him. He works awful hard. The game means a lot to him. He wants the ball. And he continues to get better. He's a go-to guy now.
Troy.
Hey, Coach, how big was time of possession in today's game? Because the Tigers held the ball for nearly 42 minutes.
I'd say it was huge. I mean, they let the clock run down. They looked every play. They let the clock run down. They had a really good game plan. I mean, they didn't care. They the problem was they were winning first down, and you win first down, you got a second 3, a second and 4. You can sit there and you can milk the clock all day. And, that's what they did. They were doing a really good job on their first down, and we didn't have a lot of success on defense on first down. So, that was their game plan. We can blame whoever we want to blame, but when the offense has the ball, they need to go score, and when the defense is out there, they need to get off the field, and we couldn't do it.
Basil.
Hey, Coach, had multiple review plays today. Seems to be really disruptive to the game. And, of course, you could hear the fans. They weren't in agreement. What's your thoughts on the whole process and, just how it affects the game and what it looks like to you on the sidelines versus what the final call is?
No, I think it's good for the game. I do. I think there's a reason for it and all that. Nobody wants to have that much disruption of momentum in a football game, including the officials, But I will say this, there were a lot of reviewable plays. When they went up there, you're going, well, this is and honestly, I want them all to go our way, every one of them. But there were some that I understood. The fumble, I thought was ours. But when they took away the touchdown, when he went into the end zone, I mean, I could have seen very easily they would have gave him that touchdown. So, reviews basically over a long run probably go 50-50 when it's all said and done. Momentum is a factor when they do that, but they have to do it. So I don't know what the best answer for that is, but I know that for the most part, they're able to get them right. I wish we wouldn't have lost Catalan, though.
Bob?
Sam, I get what you're saying about not making excuses about the lack of defensive linemen, but I think you lost four or five guys, several of whom have started. How challenging did that make it? Did it affect your game plan in terms of not being able to rush as many guys to put pressure on Finley? And how do you think the young guys played around Jonathan?
Well, it gives opportunity for them guys to play, and in the future we'll be a better football team because they were able to go out there and play. Again, we talk all the time about all we have is all we need, and I think that's what we felt going into the game, and and we did for the most part. But you know, it was good for those kids to get in there and play. You know, I think the rule is 3 or 4 D linemen, and we had 9 available. I mean, we did. They just hadn't played before, but so I was proud of their effort, and they'll continue to get better.
Jason.
Hey, Coach, just the impact that Jalen has, how much does that change your defense? I think we've seen it twice this year with both those ejections. Just what does that do to the defense when he's not back there kind of commanding, especially the secondary?
I think, you know, the game's a lot about confidence and belief and things of that nature. And obviously you want to play your best players, you know. But he brings such a confidence, such an aura, you know, around him that he affects the team positively, maybe even more than his play. You know, obviously he's a really good player and things of that nature, but and it's very seldom you might say a redshirt freshman is a leader, but he is. And so it affects you, obviously, in a lot of areas, skill-wise, playability, communication, and the fact that our players believe in him.
Trey Shack.
Yeah, Coach, obviously the team's disappointed. I know you're disappointed. What did you tell them after the game and not being able to keep the boot here in Arkansas now?
Just, you know, we're all disappointed. It hurt. And, you know, just said we have 2 more games left. And not a whole lot you need to say when you go in there and you look at them and you know it affects them. There's not a whole lot you need to say. We have to get better. We can't go out and party and all that stuff. We can't get COVID, you know, just basic things that you say all the time. But I did tell them I was extremely proud of them and proud of their effort because I damn sure am.
Hutch.
Sam, on the Catalan injection, it didn't look like his helmet touched him. What was the explanation from the official?
Man, I'm not going to answer that stuff. It cost me money and it's over with. And you saw it. I mean, the explanation was what I said earlier.
Sam, you said that LSU had a good game plan against limited your run game. What do they do? What made a difference on that?
They ran the ball like this, straight at us. They have big offensive linemen. You know, they're 320 pounds at guards and right downhill at us. And that's what you'd like to do whenever you're a lot bigger than your opponent. The thing with LSU, they were just scary enough throwing the football and Finley running the football that we didn't bring a whole lot of man pressure. And when we did, he hurt us. And Gilbert is a matchup nightmare because he's a big, fast, physical, tall tight end, and he hurt us as well.
Hey, Sam, I'm sorry. I'm at the other side of the ball. They limited your run game. How do they do it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we didn't particularly block well, it didn't look like. You know, we were on edge a lot. And I don't know that we, you know, trusted it after early. You know, we're a team that, you know, we talked about half about staying with the run, you know, and because we can't get people to bite up on the pass if we can't run the football. But they were physical. They were twisting their inside players a little bit, and we tried to run a draw, and they twisted like we anticipated. But they did a little bit more movement. They were pretty plain vanilla on a lot of their games that we watched, and they did a little bit more movement of the D-line. And I thought their linebackers played a good football game today and made a lot of tackles.
Last one, Baz.
We're good?
I think I'm good now. Coach, LSU secondary came into this game as one of the more porous secondaries in the country. And obviously, when you struggled to run the ball, but it seemed like you didn't take your deep ball success was good today, but it seemed like you didn't for a while. Didn't take many shots. You had one shot, which was a 65-yard touchdown to Burks early, but it seemed like it took until about the third quarter to start taking some deep shots. Is that just my observation, or did it seem that way?
I don't know. On every play, is that you, Baz? Yeah, on every play, Baz, there's somebody going deep and someone short and someone crossing. I don't know that we didn't attempt those balls, and early I thought that he was flushed a lot, so he really couldn't sit in there and throw the deep ball. But we wanted to go after their secondary and throw the ball deep. I know that was a big part of our game plan. But I think you're right. It was I think we might have had one drive where we might have thrown the ball a little deeper early. And then in the second half, Mike attacked them twice in there. But to be honest with you, to throw the ball deep, you have to be able to protect it. And I think we were a little bit concerned about dropping back there and with their two edge rushers. So we wanted to try to do it. And if you saw us take deep throws, Baz, I think for the most part it was on early downs.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.